Quick quiz, what are you looking at? That's right, this is the brake booster connection for the Zetec intake manifold. This is a raised seam runner style, a WS4E, but it doesn't matter. There's another style, it uses the same type of brake booster connection line there. So obviously this is where the vacuum line to the van hooks up, and part of the kit is this 10 millimeter rigid nylon line. And basically the way it works is there's this little retainer, Chinese finger trap style thing where it can slide in. Let's see if I hold this with the... So I just pushed on it. It can slide in and then shouldn't be able to slide out. This one is all worn out and the teeth on it and stuff are kind of non-existent, and I think it's even missing the O-ring, which is going to mean you're going to have a vacuum leak there. A lot of them you'll see these days will be missing this little red piece, and unfortunately the only way to get that little red piece is to buy this whole section that actually inserts into the molded cutout from Ford, and the whole thing's like 23 bucks, and you're just going to use the red piece because, as it turns out, there's grippy teeth in here, and this thing is such a pain to get out of here in one piece that you're better off just using this little red guy. Well, I thought that was pretty wasteful, and a lot of guys, like have trouble. Even if you have the retainer piece and everything, that the brake booster line has to be perfectly round, or it won't seal properly, and you'll have a little vac leak there. And so I've always kind of thought this is a little bit weak, so I wanted to figure out a way to address it. And so here's the answer. It's just a complete normal aluminum nipple replacement for this guy. It's never going to have any of the same problems. It doesn't have any moving parts. This setup is great in the factory. Toolless insertion and connection. For us, we don't get any of the benefits of that and a few downsides. So this thing will help take care of it. And I'm going to show you how to install it real quick. So it's actually really simple. All we'll need is a heat source, in this case a MAP gas torch. We need some RTV. I'm using a pair of old channel locks, a hacksaw blade, and then of course you need one of these nipples as well. And a nail. And you'll see why in a little bit. But it actually works out pretty well. This inlet guy here is just exactly the right size for, once we pop that little red guy out of there, the hacksaw blade can slip right inside here. So what you're going to do is, we're going to just cut about, if you look at it, you cut about the width of that little guy on one side. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so now I've cut this groove in there, which you can kind of see. And I've cut it all the way back. And you'll feel it when you're cutting through that there's actually a metal piece in there and stuff as well. And you can feel it, but just doing it even just by hand and keeping the blade moving, you can get it cut through. Or if you have a Sawzall or something like that with a small blade. Any small keyhole saw. The idea is just don't slice through this whole plastic boss at all in terms of like all the way around. And then what we're going to do is, and I wish I could show it a little bit easier, but I can't do it as I'm holding the camera. I'm going to use the channel locks, and I'm going to pinch, twist, and just rip this thing out of here. Okay, so it's just come out, and I'll simulate the action once I did it. So you can see those little teeth that I was talking about on there. You don't want to wiggle it too much back and forth like this, because you don't want to distort the boss too heavily either, where this is going in, that molded part. So the best motion was kind of twist it like this and move it a little bit like this, and while you're pulling, and it'll pop out of there. All right, so now I've pulled it out. Give it a little wipe down. You can see I've kind of nicked the bottom of it with the hacksaw blade. No big deal. Don't panic. Doesn't matter. So just wipe it out. Get it all ready for the RTV so it can seal well with the nipple in there. And I'm going to apply the RTV after I've wiped it out to the nipple. All right, so here's some RTV applied to that lower ridge on the nipple, which is a good place to put it. And then we can just insert that in there, like so. And it'll take, and I'm going to use this mallet or a soft face hammer, and I'll tap it in there. And I don't think I can do this at the same time as, let's see. This will be much easier when it's attached to the motor. All right. And so we'll hit that in until we get the nipple there a little below flush. I'm going to hold both and give it a few more taps. So there it is now, fully installed. You can see the RTV is squeezed out pretty evenly a little bit. It looks kind of like an O-ring at this point. That would more or less do it. I mean, you can see from the side that the surface, the metal surface there, is a little below this lip, and that's by design. Because while we could just leave this in, it would be fine, we want to give it a little extra bit of mechanical security so it cannot pop out of there ever. It's unlikely to, like I said. It probably would never anyways, but why not? We're here, it's easy to do, and that's where the nail and the heat come in. So the manifold is thermoplastic, just like lots of parts in modern cars. So what we're going to do is just heat up that nail. I'm just going to fold a tab of plastic, which is why it's below this ridge, back over here, and then it will mechanically lock that nipple in there, and it cannot come out again. All right, so I'm just going to heat up. I'm using the channel locks again to hold the nail here. So the nail is very hot. I'm just going to wait a second here. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it happen. That's it. That's all it takes. So now that plastic, let everything cool off. And there's no way that thing's ever gonna come back out again. So that's it. Now we've got a nice normal nipple, no Chinese finger traps, nothing complicated. We can just now attach the softer rubber vacuum line directly to this and clamp it on, and then run that to the brake booster check valve on the van side of things. Problem solved. No more vac leaks there, no more worrying about retainers, and it's cheaper than the Ford solution. Yay!